Hi, I want to tell you about the easternmost point and westernmost point in the Empire of the United States. Asterisk, these points might not be settled fact. I'll explain. The easternmost point in the empire is that of Point Udall, on the island of St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is in the Caribbean Sea. Point Udall was named for a former U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Stuart Udall, who served under Presidents Kennedy and Johnson. In the past, St. Croix was populated in turn by Igneri, Taino, and Carib peoples. It was a Carib group, the Kalinago, who met the incoming Spanish invasion in the 1490s. By 1590, the island inhabitants had all been wiped out, and St. Croix sat empty. In the 17th century, French, English, and Dutch settlers moved in and squabbled over who should own the island, which resulted in a 40-year stint of the island being uninhabited again. Then the Dutch claimed it all and set up a bunch of businesses. Alexander Hamilton lived there for many years of his young life, working in the family shop, before moving to what would become the United States in the 1770s, where he became a revolutionary, a statesman, a military commander, and eventually the subject of a wildly popular musical. What's at Point Udall now? A big sundial called the Millennium Monument, and some hiking trails. It's the first bit of the United States to see the sunrise each day. So the westernmost point in full U.S. imperial control is Point Udall in Guam. Wait, Point Udall again? Point Udall, the westernmost point in Guam, deep in the Pacific Ocean, is named after Arizona Congressman Morris Udall, who was the brother of Stuart Udall, for which the Udall Point in the U.S. Virgin Islands is named after. That's a pretty strange flex, but okay. Although people from all over the U.S. reside in Guam, the majority of the population are Chamorros, a group of people that have lived in Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands for the last 4,000 years. Ferdinand Magellan, sailing for the then newly minted nation-state of Spain in 1521, bumped into Guam. Magellan called the place Islas de los Ladrones, which means Island of the Thieves, which is super ironic given what the Spanish did to everybody. Japanese and Filipino people settled there alongside Chamorros in the 19th century. Guam came under U.S. control during the Spanish-American War in 1898, after 4 centuries of Spanish rule. During World War II, the Japanese occupied Guam and built an airfield at Point Udall. When the United States recaptured the island, they did so there, at the point. Later, during the Vietnam War, South Vietnamese refugees were housed here in 10 cities. So I mentioned that the easternmost point and westernmost point in U.S. territory might not quite be settled fact. Well, the furthest points east and west are determined from the geographic center of all U.S. territory. But if you measure by longitude, which are the vertical lines you see on a globe, you get different results. By longitude, the easternmost point in U.S. territory is Simisopochnoi Island, which is ironic because that is in the west of U.S. territory. And it's doubly ironic because Simisopochnoi Island is only 70 miles from Amarignac Island, which is considered the westernmost point in U.S. territory by longitude. The moral of the story is, maybe don't worry about these vertical lines unless you're a sailor.